Today, guys, we're talking about the basic costs of a real estate transaction. Stay tuned to the end. You're going to get a chance to hear all about it. Hey guys, I'm James Dean, team leader of the James E. Mountain Homes team. Thank you so much for watching these videos. Just really quick before we get into the meat of this video, I just wanted to make sure if you haven't done so already, hit that subscription button down below, hit that notification bell. That keeps you updated on all the new videos that we have coming out weekly. We've got several that come out each week on this channel, so please stay up to date with that. Also, if you've got any questions whatsoever that are real estate related or just in the community, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and give us a call. You can either call us at 719-266-2725. You can text us to that number as well, or you can email us at info@jdmret.net. Please, whatever you got to do to get those questions to us, please ask. We're here to help. We're here to provide value to you and helping you make informed decisions, whether you're looking to buy or sell real estate or just typical questions for the community out here. We are local experts of this area and we love this area. So please reach out to us, and we hope you guys enjoy this video. Okay, so today, guys, we're talking about some of the basic costs of real estate transaction. Now, I say basic because there's all kinds of things that could pop up that we're not planned for, but these are ones you can almost always anticipate, whether you're on the seller side or the buyer side, and we'll talk about those specific dynamics here in just a minute. These are things that are good to know, good to understand, good to expect as you kind of move through this process of purchasing or selling a home. Now, remember, a lot of this stuff could be very dynamic based on your particular situation, but this is just to kind of give you a breadth of knowledge so that you know and understand approximately what you could expect you need to pay in the form of a real estate transaction. So on the buyer side, we'll kind of hit that side up first. When you're under contract, there's several things that we're always going to recommend that you're going to do on that buyer side that you're certainly going to want to make sure you're taking care of, to make sure that the purchase that you are getting into is the right fit for you, and that you know as much about it as possible before spending several $100,000, maybe even over $1 million on that property. One of the biggest ones right off the bat is going to be an inspection. Now, inspection costs can vary greatly, but a basic inspection typically costs somewhere around $400, $450. That's basic. That's not anything special added on to that as well. Things that you can see that are added onto that, you can, if you have a well, you could have a well flow test on there. If you have a sewer line that's going out there, it could be a sewer scope. It could be a septic inspection. There's lots of different things that could pop up. Within that inspection, it could spawn some of these other ones to kind of come up as well. Those are typically paid for at the time of service or before you get the report. And you're definitely going to need the report because we're going to need to be able to submit that for an inspection objection so you know what's going on through that process too. So that's your first big cost that you can see. Some other costs that you can see come out on the buyer side is the appraisal. Typically, when a lender needs to order one of those appraisals, they're going to order that and they're going to go ahead and ask for that up front. Sometimes lenders will be able to roll it into the loan or roll it into the closing. The problem with that is if for some reason you don't end up closing, they get stuck with that bill, and it's not their fault that you didn't make it all the way to closing. So it's those things that we kind of step into. It's also why when we have our buyers, we're always advising them, if we have the time to, not always a possibility, but if we have the time to, we try to do the inspection first so that you pay for that first and you know that the house is still a good fit for you before we order the appraisal, so you're not stacking costs when there's no need to stack those costs if you're going to end up terminating for whatever reason. So that's another basic cost you can expect to pay out of that too. Those are the main ones that you're going to see during the actual contractual period. Now, there's lots of other little things that can kind of pop up here and there, but that really kind of gets you through the basic contractual period on the buyer side. And then you get to closing, and at the closing time frame, normally you're going to obviously have your purchase price for the house on there. If you've got a loan, you're going to have the loan plus the loan origination fees. Those will normally either get paid for as part of the down payment or extra costs at closing, or they can get rolled into the loan depending on the type of loan you have and what you've worked out with your lender on that as well. You're also going to pay things up front like your insurance and taxes as far as getting them into escrow at that point too. So we'll see them kind of build those escrow accounts up within the actual closing time frame too, or the closing. So that way the lender knows that you're going to actually have those paid because they're going to take care of that and pay for that out of escrow. Other normal costs are going to be your portion of the closing admin fees that are on there as well. And then any other admin fees
that were agreed upon. We won't get into specifics on percentages or anything else because all of that stuff, all the big NAR stuff out there, we talk on that with an individual basis with each one of our clients. But there is also always the possibility of having to pay some sort of real estate realtor fees on there for us being able to represent you as well. Our goal is obviously not to have that happen, but it's something that can happen and something that we talk with you on how to strategize and how we're going to negotiate on that offer going forward as well. And it's usually if our clients end up paying, it's because there's something else that's going on with the sellers, but normally they're getting quite the deal in the end with that as well. So we can kind of go over all that with you guys as well if you need me to. The other side of the transaction with the seller side, you're going to have some basic costs that can kind of fall into place with that as well. Typically, you don't have a whole lot going on until potentially the inspection time frame. Now, there is the possibility that you need to make sure your house is show ready and you need to get it ready to go for sale. On those could be some costs that we're going to advise you on, things you probably want to take care of before we actually make the listing active. That first impression is huge, and we want to make sure we make that first impression as good as possible before we put that house on the market. So those could be some costs with getting the house to where it's in show condition, getting it show ready out there as well. And then we put the house on the market, and now we're starting to show the home. We get under contract. There's an inspection that's done on there, and guess what? They found some stuff that they're wanting you to take care of. Now that goes back and forth to where it works for both the buyers and the sellers, and once that's resolved, there could be some things that need to be done before closing based on what that looks like and how that's planned. Now a lot of this can be strategized because some folks don't have the money to do that. Some folks just don't want to deal with it later. They'll have different things that's dependent on the individual situation on there as well, but we work with the sellers through that process to see what is going to work best for them and see if we can get the buyers to agree to that on that as well. So that way, both sides are in agreement on it, and you could end up with some things that you're actually looking at having to pay out of pocket for if it's like a repair that needs to be done before closing, depending on what that inspection resolution says. Now, normally at that point, that's all that the seller is going to typically have to take care of on a normal transaction as well until you get up to closing, at which point you're going to have all your closing costs as well. You're going to have your realtor fees, you're going to have your closing title costs on there. They're going to pay off your mortgages and any kind of liens you have on there. They're going to make sure taxes are taken care of too. Remember, in Colorado, we pay taxes in arrears. So that means that it'll be the following year that they pay taxes for when you're currently living in this year right now. So let's say you closed on June 1st, January 1st, to May 30th would still be the time frame that you were responsible for. So you're going to have to credit that to the buyers because they're going to pay that the next year on there as well. So those are some, and then HOAs is another one too that we can see prorated as well if it's already prepaid. Anything else that kind of goes into that as well as any kind of like lease propane or paid for propane. Those fun things too can get prorated based on the time of year and when that was actually handled also. These are all things that we deal with on a normal basis. That's a normal transaction. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea of what to expect. And, you know, when you're buying and you're selling on there, what you can plan for as well. Oh, I almost forgot. On the buyer side, you also need to plan for earnest money on there as well. Now, it's typical that we see earnest money requested at 1% of the purchase price rounded to the nearest thousand here in Colorado. Now, there's always little variances here and there, but that's pretty average for what we see on that. And you want to try to meet that as much as possible as a buyer because that shows you as a strong buyer. Coming in as a buyer that's only offering like $200 for them to take their home off the market, probably not going to go over too well with the sellers because they feel like you're not very serious on that too. So those are some norms that we see here in Colorado. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask about anything specific. And if I can ask it or answer it in a public forum, I definitely will. If not, I'll try to touch base with you on a private scenario so that we can actually discuss that stuff and I can go over what your options are. And I hope you guys got a lot from this video.
Guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that video. And once again, before you sign off, make sure you hit that subscription button, that notification bell down below. That will keep you updated on all the new videos that we have come out that are here to inform you and help keep you updated on what's happening here, both in the community and in real estate as well. And once again, too, if you've got any questions, please do not hesitate to give us a call, 719-266-2725. You can text us at that number as well, or you can email us at info@jdmret.net, and we will get back to you as quickly as possible to answer all of those questions. We're here to serve you, and we look forward to helping you soon.